All right. Ayiti organic, Ayiti organic, Ayiti organic, Ayiti organic 1804, Ayiti organic experience. And we have an event in Haitian history. Some people already know, some don't, but August 14 is a holiday of the ceremony, Buakaima, which happened in 1791. So we're going to talk about how Buakaima changed the direction we were going as a republic. And of course, the gathering that changed Haiti. Now, when we go back to August 14, 1791, we would have to think about where the event took place. Where did the event take place? In the north, you had a group of enslaved Africans alongside members of the bourgeoisie class. You had people who were still working as slaves. So you had every sector of the society that came together for this ceremony. They were living under a brutal system of slavery. Even even the ones who were free, even the what we would call the bourgeoisie and the mulattoes and all of them, they were all slaves. Don't forget a colony like Saint Domingue. This colony, Saint Domingue, it was one of the main colonies known for, you know, inbreeding. It was known for um, the slave master producing with the slave and have her birth, his children, and sometimes those children would be placed back in the fields to work. So this is the type of society Saint Domingue was, and this is why it was important for everyone to come together and perform these rituals, right? They had a desire for freedom. So that's really what made everyone come together, because it was a point where all Haitians from all sectors, from all groups, they felt like it was time for them to be free, liberty. And like the motto during this time, it was liberty or death. That was the motto. So let's take it back. During this 1791, during this year, the colony of Saint Domingue was already one of the richest in the Caribbean. Okay, we were producing more sugar, coffee, cotton was also something. These were all very, very expensive commodities back then. But of course, the wealth that I'm talking about, it came at a terrible human cost. Hundreds of thousands of Africans who were enslaved, forced to work under very brutal conditions. Families were separated. People were were denied their basic rights, denied their freedom. Violence was used, of course, to maintain this plantation system. But yet, these enslaved Africans, they were able to preserve their culture, their language, their tradition, their spiritual practice. And don't forget, you had prior to this year, 1791, you had a lot of slaves uh, who were escaped and were living in caves. They were living in mountains with the Taino, with the original people, the indigenous people. So they took a lot of that tradition, you know, and basically used it to their advantage, right? Among these traditions, it's voodoo. That's one of the main things that was used to invoke spirits like Ezelidantor. Uh, they always say, you know, the maternal and the paternal spirits of this revolution is Ezelidantor, Ogufegai, you know, and because of the ceremony and the way it was performed, it became like a part of the history, a DNA, of what we have as a people. Okay, as Haitian people, of course. Now, um, about 10 or 15 years ago, I started to hear about it wasn't just the pig that was sacrificed. They always said someone was also sacrificed. Vic Sama, I believe his name was. But if that's true, if that is true, they also claim that not everyone performed that part of the ritual, which is drinking of the sacrifice of someone's self harm blood. Now on this night, there were two figures, two people, two individuals we should never forget. Okay, you have Dutzy Bookman, who was a voodoo priest, a leader that they said he was a maroon that came from the Jamaican colonies, because back then they would always exchange or send slaves from one direction to the next. When we're talking about Jamaica at that time, the Maroon Wars were serious. So a lot of Maroons, of course, they were sent to the colony of Saint Domingue, all right, aka Ayiti, Haiti, the Republic, 1804. Blah blah blah. So many aliases and so many ways you can identify Haiti as a country. Anyway, this ceremony, it represents unity. Okay, the gathering was more than just a religious ceremony. It was about unity. L'union fait la force. With unity comes strength. That has always been what we were led to believe. But of course, sometimes when you're looking at the Haitian social construct, the society, you can see that there is no unity, there is no equality. Everything is a little bit upside down and haywire. So, this ceremony, it every year I see they do celebrations in Haiti, and they're always talking about they're going to make this ceremony, perform it, make things right, because the country has a lot of spiritual and mystic problems and this and that. In my opinion, I mean, the country has more than spiritual. I mean, yeah, it has spiritual problems, but we have problems with corrupt politicians, and we have problems with education. We have problems with corrupt elites, oligarchs. So there's a lot of things that's very that needs to be worked on, right? And every year when they're doing this ceremony, this reactivation of the energy, I don't see things get better, right? I don't see things get better. Maybe it's because we have the wrong people performing. Because a lot of the Wugans and the Mumbos and all of these people in the country, sometimes I ask myself, are they helping the country or are they helping themselves? When we're looking at how a lot of these gangs and these kids, they're using a lot of this voodoo, especially the left path, the darkness or the witchcraft, to proceed with violence against the citizens and other people. So I think today, which is August 14, 2026, we have to look at this ceremony, Wakaima ceremony, as something that motivated us to rebel. Okay. After that, the uprising followed. A lot of historians also emphasize that the Haitian Revolution was the result of many other forces and many other acts of resistance. They claim that the people, enslaved people, they have been resisting slavery long before 1791. You know, they don't really believe. A lot of historians don't really believe in the spiritual and the mystic aspect, which it's understanding, right? But days after the gathering, the invocation, the ceremony, days after, that's when the country just got lit on fire. A massive uprising began. And it always begins in the north, always begins in the northern part of the country. Plantations were attacked, destroyed, burned. A lot of people were being unalived. They were yapping off a lot of tops. A lot of hats was getting chopped off. Enslaved people rose against a system that had imprisoned them. Let me see. Before 1791, I would say the early 1500s probably they were coming with slaves, or what, after 1492 with Columbus. But they spent a good 2 to 3 centuries fighting to have some kind of liberty. I mean, that is a long time when you think about it, right? Hmm. What began as a struggle against slavery eventually became a fight for independence, and also, we ended up helping so many others with their independence, like even Greece. I forgot the year we helped Greece, but um, I just feel that it's time that we start to get some type of respect back, huh? This former colony of Saint Domingue. Notice how the name Saint Domingue, the colony name, is what Santo Domingo became. They ended up taking the name of the colony, and they are now the colonizer, I guess, on the island. And of course, you guys already know how the war ended. How the revolution lasted all the way until 1803. You know, and it had extraordinary leaders like Dutty Boukman. We had people like Toussaint, and then later Jean-Jacques Dessalines, the emperor. But the people, they fought against the French, they fought against the Spanish, they fought against the British. If they also, the British, they were kind of intelligent because with them, especially in the North, they ended up becoming, I guess, allies, And this is why today you'll see that all of our documents, historical documents, is over there in London. But more than it's been 2 centuries later, Boakaima, it remains an important symbol of our of our resistance as Haitian people. Okay, it's a symbol of our spirituality, of our unity, and freedom. You have to always remember freedom, liberty, or death. Okay, so that's important. This story of Boakaima, you know, it's a story that reminds us that history is not created only by kings, presidents, generals. This was a story of slaves, free slaves, maroons, mixed people, mulattoes. Everyone came together with a common cause, with a common purpose. Boakaima, which means what is it? Crocodile wood or alligator wood. Some people also meant Kai Iman, which is the house of Iman, because they claim that Dutsi was a Muslim, which it could be possible. You had a lot of people during that time coming in from other colonies in Jamaica who were already practicing that religion. So I don't know if that would be too far fetched. But Boakaima represents the moment of collective courage. We became warriors. Everyone was on code and ready to fight to the end. It represents people coming together and saying enough. Or they would say assez, which basically means enough, no more. This revolution changed the country, but its impact reached far, far beyond the island. It was a global phenomenon. It challenged the institution of slavery, shook the colonial world, and changed the course of history. And it all began with the people who believed that freedom was worth fighting for. So, this is the story of Boakaima. And on this anniversary, remember that it was a gathering that helped ignite the revolution. Okay? A night of unity, a night of resistance, a night remembered as the beginning of a revolution. Beginning of a revolution that changed the world. Because once we disrupted that business, the whole system had to change and do something else, right? So we're being attacked again today. We're all over the media, all over the news. And like I continue to say, it's time that this new generation stands up and be strategic, have a plan to assist and build this republic. And I always say agriculture will be one of the key things to save the economy of Haiti. All right. So anyway, Ayiti organic, Ayiti organic, Ayiti organic. Ayiti Organic 1804, Ayiti Organic Experience. I hope you enjoyed the knowledge, the words. You know, this is going to be Bwakaima, the gathering that changed Haiti.